All right, folks. Sorry for my tardiness, but we're here. Appreciate you waiting. Yes, had to get my coffee. No, I had a bunch of things I had to take care of as well. Non-musical responsibilities. The fun thing about being an adult, right? Yay! But we're here, so thank you, folks. I appreciate your patience. And nice to see you. Let's make sure we're getting some sound here. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. Just opening up my Logic session that I use for the bass. All right, and please tell me if you can hear the bass. Tell me if you can hear the bass. Because it's definitely showing on my end, but I want to make sure that for you all, that it's good. And it's cold as well. My hands are cold. So, and this is my first playing of the day. So, get some attention on this bass because as most of you have been seeing, I've been playing a lot with the BTB 6-string, which has been I love being able to kind of just rotate instruments, and especially these two 6-strings that I have are the main ones that I'm using. I do use the fretless quite a bit as a supplement on certain gigs, which is really nice. But I like to go back and forth between this bass and that bass, and I'll rotate them like kind of almost like every few months. And it's a good way of kind of keeping things fresh in terms of just inspiring how you play things, because they're both two totally different instruments. They have some similar foundations to them, other than obviously being 6-string, but in terms of the build of it. But they do inspire me to play some different things. So it's kind of nice to be able to do that. I will acknowledge that it is a privilege to be able to do that. Not everyone, and you don't need to have multiple instruments if you don't want to. There are some people who just stick with the one instrument, and that's totally fine. But in my case, I have been very fortunate over the years to have been able to collect a few different instruments. So right now, picked up this instrument, and I might use it on some upcoming gigs as well. Hands are cold. But anyway, folks, how you doing? Hope you're doing nice. Hope everything is being nice to you. It's nice to see you here. Yeah, I'm a little late today, but I appreciate the patience. It's not like that when I go to gigs, though. I'm always like super early, and most of the times I'm the first one at the gig, because I like to, spend the time to kind of make sure I get a good parking spot, and also if I need to miss traffic, I'll definitely go in early, and take my time loading in and setting up equipment, and then I like to just chill, and just relax and not be rushed, and then I can also help the other cats load in if they need a hand, so it's all good. Anyway, let's do some. I'm just gonna play. Brandon, how you doing? Low End Bike, nice to see you as well. And everyone here who's just been signing on, welcome to the live stream. Glad you could join me. And if you have any bass questions, pop it down in the chat. Nerdy bass questions. Even if you're a beginner as well and there's stuff you want some advice on or would like to know. Anything to do with gear, techniques, concepts, playing gigs, recording, anything like that. Pop it down in the chat. Hey, I want to point out real quick as well that during my live stream today, you can get 10% off any one-on-one lessons with me. So if you want to take a one-off lesson or join my bass coaching and mentoring program during the live stream, if you sign up, you can get 10% off by using the code LIVE10. All right, and just look in the description box. That will give you that's the code right there. And so you just apply it at checkout. Real straightforward. More coffee, more warming up the hands. So Michael, because you cats are awesome, right now during the live stream, that coupon code is active. So you got to make it happen right now. All right? So you might be sorry if you miss out on the discount. So folks, if you've just been joining on, welcome. I'm just getting my hands and fingers all kind of just loosened and warmed up and having some more coffee here. But if you haven't, please like and subscribe to the channel. And also down below in the description box are all the links to my Bass with Benjamin resources, so make sure to check that out. Sammy G Funk, what's up? Trying to remember the chords. Something like that. So I just want to say happy birthday to the maestro up there, Mr. Alan Holdsworth. So maybe I'll play these changes, actually. I like playing them. They're good for practicing. Changes to Alan's tune, Looking Glass. Keep doing that. Some beautiful changes, but man, yeah, kind of challenging. Do I know Spokes? I know the tune, but I've never played it before, so I don't know how to play it. But I figured I was gonna, since it's Alan's birthday, I was gonna play some Alan tracks because we all love Alan. At least I do. But majority of musicians that I've come across have always loved Alan. Even you know, a lot of like kind of straight ahead jazz guitar players who are like more like just real like kind of straight ahead kind of cats. I've come across a lot of them who have been huge Alan fans as well, because of the stuff that he's playing. Because obviously there's a lot of that vocabulary in his playing. There's a lot of Coltrane, there's a lot of Brecker. You can hear that, you know, in those lines that he plays. Let's see if I have the chart for this tune. This Alan tune. Oh, I've got to plug in my camera here. Do I have it here? I know it's on the other... I'm sure I'll be able to find it. See if I can find it. I know I have it somewhere. So it's a tune called no, that's not it there. I know I have it on. Any battery on this? Probably not. No. That's alright, we'll go to a different tune. It's all good. Sorry, folks, I'm just trying to get myself together here. I'm like things that you do on a whim. Alright. I'm gonna play this tune. This is definitely one of the this will be a good one, a warm-up one too, actually. So why not? We all know this one. Man, I love that version. Obviously, a live version. That's from like 2009, I think. It's Alan Holdsworth and Alan Pasqua. They did a tribute to Tony Williams. They did like a series of shows at Yoshi's in it was the one in Oakland, you know? Um you know, that's that's the whole thing. And of course with Chad Wackerman on drums, Jimmy Haslip on bass. And Alan just absolutely just obviously he just threw it down on that. Same with all of them. Just ridiculous. So yeah. Michael Anthony saying, holy smoke, don't want to interrupt this amazing play. Oh, I followed the link to your site. I'm looking at the 6-week course, 6 half-hour lessons with nothing on the page is a link to sign up. Oh, let me check that, Michael. Thank you for bringing attention to that. Let me see. Let me follow my link. Cause so you went onto the coaching page, yeah? And then you said, let me just make sure I understand what you were saying. Hey Danny Bass, nice to see you. But I follow the link to your site. I'm looking at the 6-week course, 6 half-hour lessons, but nothing on the page is a link to a sign up. Well, let me see. Let me just double check that. All right. No, it seemed to have worked, but here, try this, Michael. Let me try this. Here's the link. So if you're looking at the 6-week program, try this link. That will take you to the checkout. Let me know if you have any trouble with that. But if you have a look at the in the description box, the link that says for bass coaching, if you click on that link and then that should work. It better. Let me also just check it real quick as well on my end. Sorry. It's like an ad. Sorry if you're wearing headphones and I just blew your eardrums out. No, I'm looking at the wrong one. All right, so click on coaching. Yeah, okay, the link works there. I'm not sure what was going on, but yeah, try that, Michael. You should be all right. Should be all right there. Nice. Cool. Now just know if you want to get that 10% discount, make sure you do it during the live stream. Sammy G Fung said, what tunes did you play at the memorial? So Sammy G is referring to Alan Holdsworth's memorial that we did. This I just can't remember. Some years back. There's a few videos here on YouTube from that. But first of all, I want to say it was definitely an honor to have been a part of that and celebrate, in the celebration of his life and his incredible music. And it was really cool to have been there, and there were other people who've known Alan throughout his life, and whether they were fans or past like tour managers, band members, people like that. So it was really great. The Now I never got to play with Alan. I was very close to playing with Alan, but I've played a lot, and unfortunately, he passed away, and that never got to happen. But I've played with a lot of musicians who have played with Alan a lot, and in particular, my really good friend and one of my favorite drummers ever, Joel Taylor. He did a lot of playing with Alan. Of course, Gary Novak as well. And I've been able to. Steve Hunt was another cat that I've done some playing with as well. But on this show, there was actually it was funny. There was actually more bass players that were part of this this memorial show. There was 4 bass players total, and we took turns playing on different tunes. I think I was the only bassist who was a part of it who hadn't played with Alan, but the others were. So there was Ernest Tibbs, phenomenal bassist, one of my favorite players, such a beautiful, melodic, but like solid bassist. He played a lot with Alan. He was part of it. Anthony Crawford, who was one of the last bass players to play with Alan. And then also Tony Newton. And for those of you who don't know Tony, Tony was the bassist in Lifetime. So the period, so Tony Williams' Lifetime, the period where it was with Alan and Alan Pasqua. And so he's on the tunes Protocosmos. He plays on Fred. He wrote the tunes Red Alert, So that was cool with him being there. And he was kind of a last minute addition as well to the whole show. So he played, he gave a nice little speech as well about, his time in working with Alan. And he played his tune Red Alert. He played Fred, and I think he played Protocosmos as well, So that was cool. The tunes I got to play 16 Men of Tain, because they asked me if I could bring my upright and play that tune, which I was like, yeah, absolutely, because the original bassist on that recording, Dave Carpenter, he played upright. And so, that recording, that video to that is here on YouTube as well, which is really cool. And that came out really nicely. And Steve Hunt played, Joel Taylor played drums, Alex Sill was playing guitar. It came out really, really nicely. We played Non-Brewed Condiment as well, which is absolutely insane tune. I was trying to find the chart. I was trying to find the chart for it. Because, and let me see if I've got it here. Oh yeah, I think I have it. Yay, have I got it? Let's see. Do I have? I'm just having a look here. So I think Virgil. Yay! He sent it to me. All right, cool. I had to kind of look at my email real quick. Virgil Donati had sent me the chart during that time, so I was just looking at an old email. All right, cool. So maybe I'll play that one next, which is an insane tune. I just need to get a track for it. Maybe we'll get a live version, because the solo that Alan plays on the live version is just insane. All right. So I played Non-Brewed Condiment, and then I also played Letters of Mark. Did I play Letters? No, I didn't play Letters of Mark. No. Um, I played Looking Glass. That's right, and we did that as a trio. So Steve Hunt, myself, and Joel, and that video is up on YouTube. Um, and then later, and then towards the end of the show, myself, Ernest Tibbs, and Anthony Crawford, we did a version of what's it? Water on the Brain, because Water on the Brain was a bass feature, and that originally had the original version was Jeff Berlin, who plays an insane bass solo on that. So the way that we played it was someone played I think I played the melody. Yeah, I played the melody. Someone played chords. Someone played the bass, and we still had Joel playing drums. And then we traded. We took choruses over the solo form each. So it was really cool. It was so cool. I don't really get to do that much with other bass players, so it was super fun to do that. And I believe that might also be on YouTube as well. So make sure you check those out. So there's some cool stuff on here from that show in particular. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask at the same time, just getting the track here. And then what was cool, because it was an afternoon event, and later on that evening, Scott Henderson and his trio were going to be playing a show. And of course, the memorial, we ran over time. When you have, I guess what happens when you have so many bass players on the gig. I don't know, but we ran over time. There was a lot happening on that performance and that event. And Scott was so cool about it, because he obviously he knew Alan, and he was like, oh yeah, and he's like, man, anything for Alan, and so he hung out and watched, and he wasn't really fussed at all. He's just like, yeah, you guys just do your thing, this is a beautiful thing that you got that you're doing here. So he was super cool. And then I caught a bit of his set afterwards, and yeah, I mean, Scott is just ridiculous. Okay, did this download? I'm trying to fill in some banter. So I just have to add it. So it's here. All right, that's the live MP3. And then I also want to pull up the chat. So thank you, Virgil Donati, for back in the day, who and that was actually the connection to being able to be a part of this originally, was actually through Virgil. He was playing a lot with Alan. He was the last drummer to play with Alan. And so he was wanting to include me on a lot of this stuff. All right, so... All right, we'll see what happens, because, like, why doesn't this have chords on it? If I play some wrong notes, that's what happens. All right, it's loading up. Thanks, folks, for your patience. I appreciate it. Yes, Sammy G. Yeah, I'm just saying that. So, so the tune Looking Glass, yes, I did have to learn that because I forgot to learn that tune. This was during a time when I was inundated with all kinds of great stuff that was happening, and somehow it got lost, and it was on me that I had to learn that tune, Looking Glass. I had listened to it a number of times, but it wasn't until like I pulled up early to sound check, and I'm just kind of looking through, and somebody had sent the set list in a group message, and it said my name and to Looking Glass. I was like, oh, that's right, I was supposed to learn Looking Glass. So I spent the next hour just in my car on repeat listening to Looking Glass, and I can learn tunes without the instrument in my hand. I have perfect pitch, so I'm able to pick up on things. So I just listened to it a bunch of times until I was like playing it in my head. And then when we got to sound check, we ran through it, and I was like, okay, cool. And Steve Hunt suggested, he was like, hey man, why don't you take a solo on this as well? I was like, sure, why not? So we did it. And so if you just type in my name, if you type in my name and maybe Looking Glass, you can that should come up. And so what you're seeing there is me having just learnt that tune properly, probably like less than an hour or more. Actually, 2 hours before that performance, and whatever happened on that. But it worked out. It worked out. And again, it was an honor to be a part of it. All right, I've done a lot of talking here because I've been trying to stall while I get this up and running. So here we go. Here's Non-Brewed Condiment by Alan Holdsworth. Oh man, this chart ain't even right as well. I remember. I'm like, oh yeah, we made a lot of corrections to the chart that he sent. Because I'm like, hang on, some of these notes, it's like. It's on my iPad, but the battery's dead right now, and I gotta charge it up. And, but hey, it's a good attempt. But what a tune, man! Oh my god. Oh yeah, it's insane. It's hilarious. Yeah, it really is a banger of a tune, isn't it? It's absolutely insane. My god, Michael, hilarious. That's so funny. Danny Bay is saying, I'd like to ask, what is the right approach to jazz? As I want to play jazz fusion, I always had a problem understanding jazz. I guess it's a lot, but it can't be that hard, Yeah, no, that's a great question. Real quick, Michael, it was Alan playing the synth parts. No, so that's a live version. Michael, Alan was just playing his guitar, and those synth parts you were hearing, that was Steve Hunt. So Steve Hunt, I mean, absolutely ridiculous keyboard player. He definitely had the Alan thing going on the keys as well, which was absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, so Alan went first on the guitar, and then Steve took the second solo. So that's it. So going back to Danny's question about playing jazz fusion, and the right approach to jazz. Look, I'll tell you this. All right, so yes, jazz fusion, fusing elements of jazz and whatever else, right? That's the thing. In its basic conception, back in the late 60s, it's jazz with elements of rock music, funk, and also you look at Mahavishnu Orchestra, elements of Indian music as well, right? So it's just combining many different elements into this, right? But using jazz language, jazz vocabulary, and the concept of playing over tunes, playing over chord changes, right? And using jazz vocabulary to do so, whether it's with the melodies and the improvisations, but utilizing like an R&B groove or a rock groove or something, in that sense, as opposed to playing like straight ahead swing, right? So that's it in its basic form. So it looks like that you're more so trying to understand in terms of like the language of playing jazz. And let me just see what else. I've seen people play jazz but can't play anything else. I've had experience with a few standards and learned a bit of theory, but I can't get it to write a fusion line or solo over simple chords. Yeah, no, I totally understand. And I'll tell you first, for me, I think I got into jazz fusion first because of people like Jaco and Stanley Clarke, Patitucci, and the type that type of music I was gravitating towards. And from there, I went into understand, because that helped me understand or discover Miles Davis and Coltrane, Herbie Hancock, Bill Evans, like people like that. Because, when you're reading, when I was reading up, Stanley Clarke's biography or whoever, he's citing these influences, Charles Mingus. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, if these musicians have been influencing my favorite bass players, then I need to go see what that's all about. And that's how that started for me, right? So And I have come across, with jazz musicians who only just play straight ahead jazz. They only do that thing. They don't even do like, even with, some drummers who are just straight ahead jazz drummers, they don't really play any backbeat kind of things. They might do some Latin stuff because that's also has become part of the language, playing like a bossa or like a samba or like Afro-Cuban kind of thing. And maybe maybe a little bit of backbeat in its basic form, but like not where it's just like the real deal. And I'll tell you that is a decision. That's a choice to do that. For me, as a jazz musician, my whole thing was like, yes, my background and my grounding is in jazz, so the language and all that, but to me, it's music. It's more than that. It's going into it's going into just the many different facets of what music is and what you can play, because I love music and I want to be able to experience different forms of music. But I can use my jazz background to help me get through in terms of that. And again, that is a choice as well if you want to do that. The basic thing in terms of understanding jazz, I would recommend is you gotta revisit or visit and discover and listen to the foundational records of, and I'm not talking about necessarily having to go listen to like Dixieland music if you don't want to. For me, and I've had this conversation with many cats, it's always been varied, but it's always been a thing of like, yeah, listening to some people will say bebop is a good era to really kind of get that ingrained. So the 40s and onwards. Some people say the most important period of a lot of these albums and the development of how we play it is going to be in the 50s and 60s. So taking that bebop language and it's being applied into a more cool jazz setting. So, for example, something like Miles Davis kind of blue being used in this post-bop context. And same with the 60s as well, where you're getting in, it's that blue note era. So you really have to spend time and immerse yourself in these records if you want to understand and listen and hear. Don't just listen out for, all right, what and try to understand every single note that a soloist is trying to play. Listen to the whole thing. How does it make you feel? When you listen to, like Blue Train by John Coltrane, or you listen to Speak No Evil by Wayne Shorter, or Hub Tones by Freddie Hubbard. How does it make you feel? Like, how are the other instruments reacting and interacting with each other? Because that is a big important part to understanding jazz, is how the musicians are having this conversation with each other. How are they listening to each other? What are they doing to support each other? And also the dynamic levels of things. When are they bringing it up there? When are they bringing it down? When are they playing sparsely? When are they playing more? Those are the types of things you want to be listening to. The stuff that, for me, really gives me the full feeling of like what this music is about. And the other thing that is important too, as well as listening, is also watching. So if you're able to go out and see, a really good jazz band, And it doesn't have to be like famous cats. It can be like in your local area, like a really like, pop in jazz ensemble that just get together and they just play tunes, but it's like they're doing the thing. Because there's a lot of that around the world. People who are not known, but are still playing at a very high level. And also, it's a great way of supporting live music and your local musicians as well. You got to see and listen and immerse yourself, be in the same room as it's happening as well. That's also part of it. And of course, if you can't go out and see it in person, YouTube is an incredible source for seeing performances over the course of history of jazz as well. And that's one of my favorite pastimes to do, is to literally go down the rabbit hole and watch a lot of these performances of the legends. And then in terms of, so that is the immersing yourself part. And then of course there is the theoretical elements of it as well, of understanding, yes, how are chords constructed, right? What goes into the construction of some sort of melodic line. And melody is a hard thing to teach. The best thing that you can do, again, is listening to music. A lot of these jazz standards or any of these jazz tunes that have really nice melody lines, really great melodies, those are examples right there of how you can connect chord changes together. That is the thing. Sometimes you just have to study and learn the lines of how they sound and how they connect, how they relate to a chord, to many different chords. Like for example, something like Autumn Leaves, like something like that, which is a really nice melody line and is pretty basic. Essentially the main notes that pop out are going to be this, over these 2/5 chords, right? Those are the main notes right there, but then it has these other it has these lines that connect it. So that's the cool thing about that, is that the melody lines in these tunes, any of these tunes, can give you an idea, and can also give you an idea on how to create your own melodies when improvising as well. Like a melodic line like that, it's taking this idea and it's putting it in different forms across these changes. So the idea of da 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 da, and I'm singing it purposely with no pitches in there to give you its basic form, but it's taking the idea of the rhythmic aspect of it, da 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 da. And it gives you a chance to be able to do your own version of how the melody can be shaped. So, again, things that you can do to start off by helping you to understand jazz. First of all, you gotta immerse yourself in it. And I can't stress this one enough. You really have to be eating, breathing it, sleeping jazz, all right? And exposing yourself to many of the great foundational artists, records, and also to modern stuff as well. So your local scene, anything that is happening right now in the jazz scene. I recommend this great young pianist in New York, Emmett Cohen. He does these incredible performances on his channel with all these cats, and they just call tunes, but they just absolutely burn. They play at such a high level. They take like musical risks and all that, and they have a lot of fun. Like, to me, that is one of the best examples of playing this music at this really, like, you know, yes, at a high level, but having this real looseness and just freedom of having fun and just listening to one another. To me, like, that's a really great example of how I like to play and how I've been brought up playing jazz and been mentored as well. So you got to immerse yourself with the music itself, all right? Then yes, have an understanding of the basic theoretical elements, right? Just like with any kind of music. And that requires also, all right, learn tunes, learn jazz tunes. Yes, if you know a few standards, good. Keep upping that. And I recommend, you know, maybe a week, try something like 3 jazz tunes a week. Like focusing and working on that. Add that to your vocabulary, to your repertoire list. All right? Because you need to understand the repertoire that goes in it as well. And in terms of jazz fusion, yeah, okay, learn some when you want to get into that, which you already are, then okay, learn the fusion tunes as well. So obviously what I've been playing, you know, Alan Holdsworth, which you can hear there are elements of rock and all that in there, but it's been used in a jazz context right there. All those guys are jazz musicians that were playing. They know how to play straight ahead stuff. Even Alan himself, you know, he did a straight ahead album, which was really cool. It was cool to hear him do that. In terms of writing a jazz fusion tune, just like any tune, you can't force it. And any tune can kind of be turned into a jazz fusion tune, even like a standard. You know, I've played many standards where we've put a jazz fusion vibe on it, even just by changing the feel, literally something like that. So the thing is you know, you develop a melody, or you can have some sort of groove first, a bass line, chords, and you can come up with a melody from that. All right, any melody can be used in a fusion tune. Doesn't have to, and it doesn't, just because it's jazz fusion doesn't mean it has to be a complex melody. It can be something super simple. Take, for example, the tune by Jaco called Havana, right? One of my favorite Jaco tunes ever. The melody in that. Gotta practice it. But, you know, it's the melody. Yeah. It's not a complicated melody. It really isn't. It's like long tones. And some might argue, oh, well, the bass line that he's playing is the melody. Sure, I'd say it's like a bass melody, but he never, from what I understand, the way he played that bass line on that recording, wasn't set. He would play it differently the different times, and they didn't play that tune a whole lot, but he used to play that earlier on in his career, even before Weather Report, and he plays a different melody, or different bass line, but the melody is the same. So you don't need to have something complex. I think, if you write music based on, how you feel, and you can do whatever alterations to it, I think when writing music, you're using influences of how you're feeling, your emotions, influences of other music that you might be hearing at the time or whatever, or other artists, and you channel that into your own music and your own playing. So to kind of circle back, after this like long-winded answer of like playing jazz, that's what I'd recommend to do. So I hope that's helpful, Danny Bass, and to anybody else who might be in the same situation as well. And you're saying it's really just listening to the cheesiest fusion you can find and study it. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's cheesy fusion and there's non-cheesy fusion as well. So I think, let it all... I've found some really nice jams and influential moments and inspiring moments, even in some real cheesy stuff as well. I can sift through that and find the things of like, hey, actually, I like that, and it even goes for anything else as well. So yeah, let me catch up on the chat here, and then I'll play some more music. Michael Anthony saying there's a great piano tutorial guy on YouTube named Pierre Piscatelli that did a video of Rick Beato, and he played Alan Holdsworth on piano. And it was like, wow, those are the chords. Yeah. Absolutely. There's some incredible chords, on these Alan Holdsworth tunes. So yeah. And yes, Michael Anthony Foundational Records. Yeah, absolutely. Louis Armstrong is, yeah. You take, Louis, Lester Young, like absolutely. And that's where there's that whole thing of people have different views of like, oh, how far back that you need to go. I think it's all important. I think it really is. Even like the start of, even you go back to like ragtime and all that. So I think it's because it all has paved way for how we do this now, And sure, there's going to be music that's going to leave you confused. Bebop was definitely a break or a new direction of taking these tunes and playing, more notes, playing faster tempos, using more chromaticism. Like it was a lot of that kind of thing. Where they wanted to showcase that, and so writing melodies like that. Bebop is more complex, but it's definitely worth spending some time with it as well, because it's just the language is so rich in there, and that has again influenced a lot of how we improvise, because of that kind of language. Low End Bike is saying, if you don't mind, could you use Agua Bebe as an example? How do you think about the form and the changes, and what are you thinking about when playing? Is it the chord tones or something else? Yeah, absolutely. I've got a lot to catch up here on the chat. I will definitely do that. Low End Bike. Let me just see what else here. Danny's saying, Kind of Blue, Miles Davis is one of my favorite albums. The listening for the conversation is strong. Nice. It's just all really great music. To play and learn, I gravitate to Fusion, for example, Tudu, Miles Davis. Yeah. Uzeb, incredible as well. Yeah, Alain Caron is fantastic, phenomenal bassist, one of the best. Yeah, I mean, you got to listen to how these cats were using the instrument. Even Patitucci with Electric Band, Stanley Clarke with like Return to Forever. Um, it was Alfonso or Miroslav, Alfonso, Jaco, or Victor Bailey in Weather Report. Any of these bands, right? Immerse yourself in the music that you wanna do. You know, 6-string bass is the ultimate instrument. I know Autumn Leaves, for example, could be more exact. How to practically implement modes over chord changes, melodic and rhythmic. Yeah, sure. And I can also demonstrate that too. So Água de Beber, the Autumn Leaves, I can demonstrate certain things. And no, it's not too much of a question. I think it's a great question. I think it's worth asking these. You know, you really you got to know, right? And whatever I can do to help, you know. So yeah, learning the jazz, it's a language. You know, the playing language of it and the theoretical language with it. So I appreciate it, Sammy G. I appreciate you. Well, I just want to make sure. How do I know whether I'm just Forrest Gump on bass? Maybe it's because of that horse that kicked me in the head when I was saying, "Oh, jeez." You know, I don't know if you're. No kidding. Thank you for the wizard, of course. Lee Linton. Hey, how you doing, Lee? I thought to learn a new song, you need a new modded dial or switch on your bass. Then when that song comes, you just hit the switch. You're making it sound. Oh, man, it's all hard. Trust me. It really is. Charlie G saying, whenever I start thinking I'm a hotshot bass player, I watch one of your streams again. Oh, man. You're too good. I'm also... I appreciate it, but I sometimes also humble myself too in terms of like, oh yeah, I didn't execute that too well. I'll try again next time. And whenever I see a video of like, you know, Patitucci or whatever, Stanley, I'm just like, oh man, these cats. All right, let me go to Água de Beber. I can definitely do that. Let me make sure. Do they have it on my little... Oh, maybe they don't have it on here. But maybe I could do... Instead, I'm going to, if you don't mind, low-end bike. I'm going to do Corcovado. How about I do that one instead? Is that all right? And... Wow, Michael, that's intense. Yeah, that couldn't have been fun at all. Wow. All right. So Corcovado, Antonio Carlos Jobim. So, what am I doing again? How do you think about the form and the changes and what you were thinking about when playing? Is it the chord tones or something else? Yeah, look, so it's going to be... It's never only just one thing. It's a mixture of things. I'm just going to play, and we can chat more about it. So with playing through, and this is just an example, and these are some. It's got some changes in here, you know, like. And then. So, what am I thinking? Yes, I'm going according to the chords because when I see chord changes and I see a chord, I understand the basics of what the chord construction consists of, right? So obviously things like, okay, what are what kind of third is it, the type of fifth, the seventh, and then I'm looking at other tones, extension tones or color tones, which are going to be the extensions, whether it's a 9 or it's going to be a flat 9 or a sharp 9, things like that. What kind of sixth am I going to play? So if it's a minor 7 chord, and depending on the sound of it, you have to decide of, okay, am I going to play a Dorian, that raised 6, or am I going to play the flat 6? In terms of the type of sound. And I can actually show this over Autumn Leaves. Which would be actually really good. And then I'm also looking at, okay, how do I connect all these chords together instead of just trying to play scales or modes? What are the common tones that can relate to the chord, to each of the chords, right? And then there's also the use of, like, okay, how do I use chromatics to, chromaticism to connect things as well, I'm just looking in the chat and it's like, guys are talking about horses. Michael's the situation, and Lee's like, I had a horse stand on my bed. Oh, come on, man. Yikes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. I'm going back to Autumn Leaves here. Oh, man. So, and let me show you how you can apply like different kind of modes to something like Autumn Leaves. So if you're wanting to think of something specific, so a tune like this, which is it's definitely easier in the sense of instead of like a tune like Corcovado, which has like this beautiful kind of movement, it doesn't necessarily use a lot of 2-5-1s. Autumn horses. Yes, no horsing around. Class is in session. You're all going to get a test at the end of this, all right? You're going to be tested, all right? You're going to be tested on how you can play jazz. By the end of this, you should all be playing jazz very well, all right? You should all be very proficient in the jazz. So, oh my God. I'm just going to play Autumn Leaves. And so I'll demonstrate different ways that you can, especially utilizing modes from the major modes, and also from melodic minor as well. All right. So I'm going to do Autumn Leaves. So this is in G minor. So the first chord is C minor. And something to remember is that, you know, this is in the key of, it's, even though it's like, yeah, the first, it's G minor, but it's really, it's B flat major, you know? So I'm going to use a lot of like B flat major, and I was playing Lydian right there. And what I'll start off is I'll just play B flat Lydian over the whole thing, you know? There will be no cheating. There is no, all right, you know, if you're going to get tested, all right, it's, you got to pay attention. You know, the link to the cheat sheet, all right, is you writing notes. That's the cheat sheet right there, okay? You create your own link. So real quick, so yeah, some of you are probably going like, what? Why B flat Lydian? Okay, so I can use B flat Lydian when I get to, obviously when I get to a B flat major chord, but also when I get to the G minor chord. You know, I can really get the Dorian sound, you know, because if we're looking at in the key of B flat, or, you know, if I'm going to use a Lydian note, it's going to be this E natural. So and what's really cool about that, so then this is how it can link you into the melodic minor side of things as well, is that you can literally play, you know, G melodic minor on that when you get to the G minor chord. So what I did was, especially on this kind of this minor 251 in the A section, you know, was that right on that A half diminished is when I started playing. I can play the melodic minor. Although, you might be thinking, but an E natural doesn't work over an A half diminished. So what I can do is I can compensate for that. Instead of playing, instead of playing G melodic minor, and what I can do is I can play, since it's an A half diminished, I can make it a G harmonic minor, which is going to be. So I have like these few options right there of being able to go between those two modes. Whether it's whether I'm playing a Dorian mode or a melodic minor mode or a harmonic minor mode, and I'll demonstrate that by, I'll take it from the top of the chorus here, and it's a way of being able to kind of get outside a little too, which is kind of nice. And so what I'll do is I'm gonna play, and this is the thing, even though, like, yes, I said Lydian, but you can even just do literally just play B flat Ionian as well, for the most part, which is pretty cool. And it's the home key really is B flat major. So there we go. and also just to have fun. Um, so this is a thing. It's like, okay, well, how do you like? This is just from understanding. Yeah, modes. Yeah, this is the thing. It's just this is information. All right, the theory part and all that. Understanding modes and intervals and how the chords are put together, but then you have to again listening and transcribing and figuring out and trying to emulate what you hear. And then you can use the theory of what you know to help you understand what it is that you're playing. That's the thing. It's not a thing of like, okay, I've read like this giant phone book size theory book. Now I'm going to be a great soloist. It doesn't work like that. That's the thing. It's a whole thing of you gotta have that information to help you understand. Okay, I can hear that Horace Silver was playing this line that had like a flat 9 and a flat 13 in there. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And sometimes it can be the other way around. You can use the stuff of what you're hearing and then try to figure out, okay, what it is that even if you don't know what a flat 9 is or a flat 13, then you can learn some basic theory and then go back to the stuff that you already know how to play or that you've heard and be like, that's what that is. It kind of works both ways, So that's the thing. We got Esinoit. As I said, how you doing? I'm sorry if I definitely mispronounced your username here. Do I practice with metronome? Yeah, sometimes I do. Yeah, I think metronomes are great. I think they're a great tool. I think it's a great tool to help you practice along to something. It's not necessarily gonna, force you to just have good time, but it can make you aware of like how to play along with something that has good time. And also it's a good way of when you slow something down, have a metronome to just kind of help you keep track, right? It's also a great tool for using if you are wanting to practice, like playing like hemiola kind of stuff, over the bar line type of phrases or rhythm, and understanding how to play that stuff and having a hearing in the background something with good time. So I think it's great to use a metronome. It's always good to also use it in terms of getting a reference for something, I know there are some people who are totally against metronomes. Sure, you're free to your opinion. I can tell you from my experience and pretty much just about everyone that I've encountered on the professional level as a musician have used a metronome in some sort of form. That's the thing. And also you need to know how to play to a metronome, to a click, especially if you're playing on sessions where you need to do that, or if you're recording your own stuff, you need to know how to play on with it. You need to know how to play right on it. You need to know how to also kind of play slightly behind it or slightly ahead. And even if you're playing on gigs where you're playing along to tracks and there's a click, you need to know how to do that. You need to know how to, and not in the way that you can do that is by practicing it. So I'll give you a demonstration, So what I'll do, I'll just mute this. Let's have right? I've got a click there. And I'll just play along. Why not? I'm just having some time right there to kind of hold me accountable in a way, and just to remind me as well. Now, when I'm playing, so there was a little tendency to kind of slow down a bit, to kind of drag. So, but when listening to the click, I was like, okay, let me just kind of just edge up a little more. Now, obviously, when you're playing along with a real drummer, real musicians, then yeah, there's going to be that natural flex. But and collectively, you all have to be responsible for a good, strong pulse. You know, things are going to speed up a little. They're going to slow down. They're going to kind of have the ebb and flow, which naturally is what music does. And you need to be able to do that, to have this loose kind of thing and flexible thing. But also you need to understand how to play right on the money as well, and to be able to follow something to a T. That's the whole thing. You need to be able to do all of it. And at least in my experience, that has been the case of that. Sometimes I will when playing with the metronome, try to do it so that the metronome gets buried in what I'm playing, you know? So that if I hear any flams or whatever, or the metronome kind of sticking out in terms of being ahead or behind, then I know to kind of just ease back or lay back a bit, you know? You know, like I'll do things like that. And it's kind of nice to just play some time. And then what happens is that I start treating the metronome as if it's a percussion instrument. Again, going back to, you know, like something to play along with. So that's how I would treat it. So yeah. So I have a problem to get speed, the choruses like you. Look, this is just from, I've been playing the bass for a long time, and again, if you want to develop some technique and speed and all that, learn stuff that requires you to do that. One of the things that really helped me with my technique earlier on when I was a teenager was, Stanley Clarke was a huge influence for me. So learning like things like that, that helped me develop, you know, to play faster. Same thing with, you know, learning Jaco stuff or Patatucci or whatever, you know. Horn player lines, you know, stuff that demands you to play at a faster technical level. Learn how to play that stuff. That's how you can develop your technique and speed as well. If you want to play faster, learn how to play fast things. You know, transcribe it, and then take that into your own music. You know, let me see here. Who else? And Danny Baisley. Let me just say. So you're saying, because you're about to jump off short. What course would you recommend on these topics from your courses? So in terms of the theory stuff, I recommend my Basic Music Theory Accelerator course. It's just the basics of the theory elements that I feel are very important for you to know. So a lot of the the modes and arpeggios and some ear training, things like that. I recommend that, you know. And I don't have a course as yet on improvisation. That's something that I'm thinking about doing. Doing something on improvisation. Right now, the way that I teach improvisation is through my lessons, one-on-one lessons. So in my coaching and mentoring program, or if someone, you know, wants to get just a one-off lesson with me, I do it through that. And by the way, you can get 10% off that if you use the code live10 during the live stream right here. But I am planning on working on an improvisation course, something for beginners, and then also another one for advanced, more advanced players as well. Let me catch up on the chat here. Michael saying, holy moly, that was brilliant. Thank you. When you cross over from playing by ear and feel to having to think about where you're at, like having to think about the changes. Yeah, sometimes it's they say, yeah, you can't think, but I mean, your brain is always is always thinking, right? It's definitely also another thing of like, I'm listening to the chord changes as well. I'm listening to what's happening. And also I'm leaving some space as well to kind of take a breath. It's okay to let something, you don't have to play over every single chord change. You can let some things go by to kind of, in a way, collect your thoughts. That's that's another way to kind of look at it. Low End Bike is saying, very nice, thanks for the demo. Man, you're welcome. Does the same principles apply to bass lines and supporting a band? My guess is that it should be less flowery and more diatonic. Yeah, when supporting a band, obviously, yes, as a bass player, we want to do the thing, right, of holding it down, the responsibility, right? But we also want to be able to support things harmonically as well, right? So whether it's like some sort of melodic bass line, in a sense, and whether you're playing a perfect fifth or a flat five, or you're playing an augmented fifth, things like that, you want to be able to support that according to the chord changes, right? So that's the thing, is that yeah, you always want to, you have to be a supportive role in many things, not just the time, but also harmonically as well. Just remember, with the bass, we're the bridge between rhythm and harmony. We can make a great melody sound even better. That's the cool thing, just with the way that we play the bass notes, right? There's always going to be a time and place for everything. There's a time and place, obviously, for just playing. And then there's also a time and place to play. To play something that has more notes in it. Anything can be used. It's not just always going to be the one size fits all. Music ebbs and flows and lends itself to different elements being a part of it. That's the cool thing. As the bass player, yes, the thing that we're always going to do is have that responsibility. I'm going to play some more music shortly. Maybe we'll play another Alan Holdsworth tune. Let's see. No, the real book is just frustrating taste. It can be, yeah. I mean, there's going to be tunes in there that you really like, and then there's going to be tunes in there where you're like, no, I'm good. And you're welcome, Danny. I'm glad that was helpful, and always happy to answer questions, folks. Whatever I can do to help you with your bass journeys. This is why I do this. I love to do this. And I appreciate your kindness all around. I'm going to play a little more, and then I'll probably have to call it a day or a night or a morning, wherever you are. Hey, cursed wordsman, or was it swordsman? I always get this wrong. It's cursed swordsman. I thought it was cursed wordsman. Remember? Good to see you. Low End Bike is saying it's very helpful. I'm guilty of simplifying chords down to major and minor, but we'll practice supporting the harmony of those specific chords. Look, there's nothing wrong with simplifying them down into that basic forms. that's really important to do that. And it's okay to do it. Just know that there's no there's no elitism with that. Some people might try to do that kind of thing, but it's totally fine to do that and to just play triads and all that, and to go into that kind of concept. Even writing a tune that just has major and minor chords, even a jazz tune, that's the thing about it. So it's totally fine. I think, once you have, it's sussed out with like how you're playing it, with the major and the minor, you understand it, then I think you can start exploring the more extensive part of the harmony. You know what I mean? That would be something to really kind of go into. So yeah. Pathead, hello. Oh, he's over in Canada. Hello to you in Canada. Any other Canadians here? He's like, you gave me a need to get a 6-string. Oh yeah, get a 6-string. Highly recommend it. Lee Lanton's ever installed a preamp in a passive bass? Have I? No, I haven't actually. I have not. I've changed out a passive preamp though, but I have not. And I've always, threatened to put a active preamp in a passive bass. I've definitely, and then I just never did. Yeah, no, I haven't. But are you working on a project or something? Wanting to install a new preamp in your bass? For something like that, I always get a professional to do that kind of thing. That's me, because obviously I'm not really the person to do that kind of advanced, extensive electronic work. I can do basic soldering. I can put in pickups and all that. My soldering is not the cleanest, so that's also another thing too. Got a Washburn from a 5-string from the 90s. Nice. I used to have a Washburn bass when I was 12 years old. It was my first ever 5-string bass. It was great. I loved it. It was a Bantam. It was an XB 125. I loved that bass. It was great. And then, I had that bass for 2 years, and then I switched to the 6-string bass. The only thing about that bass, that 5-string, was that it was the same amount of frets as like a 4-string Fender. So, and I was trying to kind of, play some stuff that was, on a more higher range, But I loved it. I learned how to. I had a lot of development on that instrument. I'll play another Alan tune. I talked about Letters of Mark. Maybe I can do Letters of Mark. Do a live version. I like playing these live versions because they kind of stretch them out a bit more. All right, let's have a look. That's an insane tune, right? That's Letters of Mark. That's Alan Holdsworth, yeah, and that's a live version of the tune with Gary Novak destroying it on drums, and um, Dave Carpenter playing bass on that. So really cool. Just want to say happy birthday to Mr. Alan Holdsworth, who would have been, I think he would have been 80. Yeah, this would have been his 80th birthday. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, someone's talking about 918 volts. Lee's saying I bought a Delano Sonar 3 preamp for for a bass. Oh, you got a? Did I miss something? Let's see. Oh yeah, for your bass preamp. Nice. My research says there's a much better option. I'm just working on designing a rechargeable battery box, and I got hit the old bass with a Dremel. Yeah, good luck with that. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I know what a Dremel is, and I've used a Dremel to widen a string post when installing a hip shot into one of my basses, but that's about it, you know. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna call it a day or night, wherever you are. I just want to thank you all for hanging out. Thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. It's kind of nerding out and just having fun, playing some music, talking about music as well, and answering your questions. I always enjoy doing these. Again, if you haven't, please like and subscribe to my channel, as well as down in the description box. Go ahead and check out all the bass resources that I have available. And just a reminder, if you want to get 10% off of a lesson with me, or when you sign up for my bass coaching and mentoring program, you can get 10% off by using the code LIVE10 at the checkout. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And again, thank you, folks. This has been really cool. Did you sign up? Yes, you did. You signed up to the 6-week coaching program. Nice, man. Welcome aboard, man. We'll be in touch real shortly on how we get going, all right? You did it, Michael. I'm excited to have you, man. Anybody else want to join as well? Want to sign up? Go ahead. The coupon is good as long as the live is on and I'm still playing, so now's your chance. Still getting used to trying out a little bit of distortion, but yeah, you know, I'll figure it out. No, it's all good, Danny. Yo, look, when the time is right, you can do it. All right, but definitely, yeah, getting on some courses as well. And I'm glad your 6-string MDM 1606. You're enjoying that, which is also what Michael Anthony has. 6 weeks, you're doomed. I don't know, maybe you're doomed, man. No, I'm excited, Michael. We're gonna have a lot of fun, man. Lee Linton, what's your modulation? Yeah, so I was using Exotic Effects BB bass preamp for the fuzz or the overdrive, and then EBS dephaser. And then through a new neighbor reverb pedal. You know, so really cool. You know, I'm still kind of just figuring out the how to get them to blend nicely, especially with the overdrive. So I'll keep trying it out. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. You are all awesome. I appreciate the hang. This has been so enjoyable. Great to see some regular cats. Also nice to see some new cats on here as well. Whatever you do, have fun playing your music. Play the music that you love to play. Listen to the music that you love to play, that warms your heart, that resonates with you. Play music with people that want to do the same thing as you as well. All right? Be safe out there, and I'll see you again next time. All right? Peace. Folks, See you again soon. No, I didn't get new pedals. I've had those pedals for years. All right. So, familiar. He's like, I bought the other four. Nice. All right, folks. See you soon.